Hey everybody, welcome back to another Summit Conversations video. I am coming to you today with what I think is going to be a fun behind the scenes look at something that has evolved so much in my business over the years. And I want to talk about what planning a summit looks like for me now versus what it used to look like when I first started hosting these events, as far as the kinds of tasks I'm doing myself versus like outsourcing or automating. And I'm not going to share this from like a perspective of you comparing yourself to me or anything like that, but I want you to see what's possible either with your current team. So if you already have a team, this might open your eyes to things you can hand off to them, or it might just show you what's possible in the future as your business and team grow along with you. So let's start with what summit planning used to look like for me. So when I was hosting my first few summits, I did it all, right? I had the ideas. I was the visionary, yes, but I was also the one doing all the things. So I was mapping things out in Asana. I was creating calendar events, writing copy, sending speaker follow-ups, scheduling emails and social media posts, like everything. Right. And I think you have to do that to some extent because you have to know the ins and outs of things and how they work before you can outsource effectively with a lot of it. But I know that that's where a lot of you are right now. And it can get kind of consuming, right? Like that's part of why I recommend a 90-day timeline. So you have time for other things and to like breathe. But especially if you're trying to do it on your own instead of with the templates and resources we provide in our programs, like that's a lot. And don't get me wrong, like I loved the process of doing it all. I wouldn't be sitting here otherwise, but I'm someone who loves being in the weeds. I like the little nitpicky detailed tasks that I like shouldn't be doing anymore. But after my first 3 events, I hosted an event every 6 months until I got to 3. And I was like, I cannot do this, right? I can't do 2 events per year, one every 6 months, like I wanted to, while also managing like client projects and marketing and all of those things on my own. But if we fast forward to today, hosting a summit, especially one we've done before, like our upcoming Membership Momentum Summit, it looks a lot different. So instead of working 40 hours per week like I used to, I'm down to about 20 hours per week while I homeschool and hang out with my kids. And I don't think I could have managed that back with my first couple of summits. And it's funny because I can think of several clients and students off the top of my head who do this. They homeschool, they work part-time hours in their business, and they host 2 summits per year. Just for me and my personality, maybe like my perfectionist tendencies, it would have been a no-go. But now with the way my team has evolved and the way I have stepped into like more of like the classic CEO type role, I can work 20 hours per week. And we're planning our second summit for this year while I'm still working on other projects. So as I record this, we are creating content for a new course we launched last month. We have a challenge that's happening next week, which you should sign up for, by the way. And I'm planning the summit. And the difference is the way I have stepped up in my business into this CEO role and given more trust and control to the incredible people I've hired to work for me. And it also helps that this is the second run of the summit we're planning, right? So I can be more hands off because the foundation is there. So with all of that being said, I wanted to share what I still do because there are pieces of the process that do need my brain and personal touch, or at least that's what I tell myself, right? I want to feel like I'm still needed. But first, I handle all the initial vision work. So things like the overall event experience, like what do I want it to be like for attendees, the speaker experience, deciding our all access pass package and pricing, finding ways to innovate and deciding what to experiment with. Like those are all things I do. Basically, any high level planning for any piece of the event comes from me. Now, for a repeat event like this one, these pieces are pretty quick and easy because I'm tweaking rather than creating from scratch. I can look back from our notes from last time and what we said we wanted to change and do differently. But for a brand new summit, this is where I spend a good chunk of my time up front. I personally also do the speaker research and deciding who to pitch. I think this is probably the part that I'm most protective over because speaker selection really can make or break a summit. And that comes down to, the way the presentation topics fit together, the way I personally align with each of the speakers, the diversity of the speakers, so much more. There's so much that goes into it. And I still want control of that. And this does take me several days of research, stalking, going through applications, narrowing them down, agonizing over the decisions of who to leave out this time and who to pitch. And then like making that final decision ultimately of who does get the pitch email. And I actually have another video in this series about my process of using speaker applications and narrowing them down. So you can go ahead and check that out if you haven't yet. But what I love about the process is that I don't have to write the actual pitches anymore. I just leave a note in Airtable for my assistant telling her exactly how to customize the beginning of each pitch, because I do think customization is important in like sharing the reason you're reaching out to the person personally. But she can take that, she plugs it into the template and handles the rest, right? She'll reach out to me if the speaker has any like follow-up questions or anything that requires a more personal touch. But I get to be hands off after that. Something else I do is review everything that goes out with my name on it, right? So like forms and emails for the speakers. I am looking at all of it and making tweaks. Website pages, email sequences. Like my team will create the first drafts now based on what we did last time. But I want my eyes on anything that's attendee or speaker or public facing so I can catch details and see if any improvements are needed or, just any tweaks I want to make. And of course, I also do anything that requires my actual presence, like co-working sessions that I lead for my speakers, community engagement, live calls during the event, and my own presentations and sessions. But those are kind of the big areas that I still handle. The overall ideas, speaker selection, and front-facing stuff. So while those things do require me to put in some hours at a couple points throughout the process, my team basically handles everything else, like graphics, speaker management, setting up presentation pages, email setup and scheduling, admin tasks, setting up automations, project management, speaker follow-up, like all of that. And it is honestly really amazing to think about how much work used to sit on my shoulders that I know a lot of you are handling. Now it just happens without me even thinking about it. And I think it could be fun for you to think about as well, like what this could look like for you or what your next step could be towards this. Like it didn't happen overnight, right? I think this is my 14th summit coming up. Maybe I've kind of lost count at this point, but it's really just been the last one or two that I have been this hands off. But it started small. Like the first thing I outsourced were my graphics because I create really ugly things. And like either Canva didn't exist back then or I didn't know about it. But design was the first thing. Then I added outsourcing the creation of like speaker presentation pages and things like that because it was so time consuming and you do the same thing 20 times. It's so easy to just record once and outsource, right? And then each summit, it's not like this was intentional, but looking back, I can see that I would add a few more things to the list that I would hand off based on my current team, based on what I was ready to let go of control of at the time. And I think an important part of this is having that step-by-step process. I get to cheat in that I had made the step-by-step process for all of you. So I was able to literally have a team member go through our lessons in Summit in a Box to generate the project plan, watch the videos, and use the copy templates and website templates to set up all of our stuff. And I'm able to let my team do more and more of that every time. And by the way, any of you in Summit in a Box or the Accelerator, you can just reach out to us about adding a team member and we can help you get your assistant like access to take things off your plate. But overall, this is a process of baby steps. And now it's allowed me to go back to hosting 2 events per year when I want to. The last time I did that was 2019. And it was just like a nope for me after that 3rd event in a row. So it was 1 every 6 months. So technically 3 in a year. But now it's doable. I can host multiple summits per year without burning out. I have the mental space and energy to work on other revenue generating projects during summit season and support all of our clients and things like that. And there's also more room for me to experiment with each one when we do them closer together because there's like less riding on them going perfectly, right? I have more wiggle room with results because there's another one coming up in 6 months. And I also love just getting to see my team work in their zone of genius as well and identify like, wow, they're actually way better at me than a lot of these things that I was trying to do. So if this is something you want to work toward, I'd encourage you to just identify like, let's say 1 piece of your next summit that you can outsource. I would encourage it to be either design or managing speaker content when it comes in, which is actually something we offer services to help with if you're in one of our programs. So you can talk to us about that. But I would love to see you be able to free up your time and energy so you have more space to enjoy your events, right? Work on other things, maybe rest, and still see your incredible vision come to life. And speaking of incredible events, I'm actually helping you take steps toward your first or next profitable virtual summit next week with our Start Your Summit That Sells challenge. It's a free 5-day challenge. I'm going to be teaching my step-by-step summit hosting strategies, including how to monetize without ticket sales, how to position your event to stand out, how to plan it in a way that fits your life, stuff like that. So if you've been thinking of hosting a summit, but kind of feeling overwhelmed by everything involved, this challenge is going to break it down into manageable pieces, show you where to start. You can get my feedback during it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you can grab your spot at summitinthebox.co/challenge, and I hope to see you there. But I'd love to hear from you about this video. Like, what part of your summit do you wish you could get off your plate? Or maybe you've already started delegating like pieces of your events. I'm curious to hear what was the first thing you handed off. So drop a comment and let me know. And thank you so much for watching today's summit conversation. I will see you in the next one.